The current government and the TNA National Alliance has made a number of statements in the past playing down the allegations that there is an agreement between the two parties. However, more recently, representatives of the TNA are making public statements suggesting that there is in fact an agreement between the TNA and the UNP.
Tamil National Alliance MP M.A. Sumantiran said that extensive discussions were held between the UNP and the TNA when a motion of no confidence was presented against the Prime Minister. Sumantiran points out that the presentations of the proposed draft of the new constitution in Parliament and the assigning of the Ministry of Northern Development under the Prime Minister was a result of these discussions. We are criticized for supporting the Prime Minister when the motion of no confidence was presented against him, but we discussed many matters at that time. The draft that was presented in Parliament was a result of those discussions. We said that prominence should be given to developing our areas. The reason the Prime Minister was given the Ministry of Northern and Eastern Development is for the TNA ministers to work with him and develop these areas fast. We have come to certain agreements. Meanwhile, leader of the ITAC, Mave Senadiraja, said yesterday that a mechanism has been created for cabinet decisions to be taken after holding discussions with the TNA. It has been decided to implement a mechanism where the cabinet can take decisions after holding discussions with the TNA. This mechanism is already in place. The government must work after holding discussions with us. A team has also been appointed for this. Meanwhile, speaking at another event held in Jaffna last evening, parliamentarian M.A. Sumantiran made a controversial statement suggesting that there is a possibility that the country may be divided. The hearts of the Sinhala people should be won over. There was a question as to if there would be an opportunity for that. There is a suspicion. We will not go to take over what is theirs. We only ask you not to hold on to what belongs to us. That is all. They fear that the country might be divided. I don't know the reason for that. It could be divided. Many people said that such a report would not be presented, but we have now presented it. Today, we have become the decisive force in the government.
I don't think that they will be able to bring these forward. We are not in any way ready to raise our hands the way Sumantiran says. We will definitely defeat this with our vote. Not only we will defeat it, we will not allow it to be presented.
If there are loopholes in it, we must change it, although we are in the government. If this becomes a mechanism of destroying or dividing the country, I personally will not agree to it, no matter which government is in power. It includes discussions on police powers and discussions extending beyond that. Any draft can be amended. If it is not amended, an MP can decide as to if he is going to support it or not.
The
government that was afraid of the elections have now started to play games by putting forward a new constitution. Wickremesinghe must be thinking that he can deceive the people of this country. We would like to remind you that Wickremesinghe lost about 30 elections because of his attempts to deceive the people. Now what has happened to the UNP? They have become prisoners of the TNA. They must please them. This is why this constitution was presented to Parliament. What does this include? The President will be elected by the current members of Parliament. The parliamentary elections are postponed indefinitely for the delimitation to be completed. All powers are transferred to the provincial councils.
If the UNP really wants to provide the Tamil people with a political solution, the UNP should have honestly said what they will be doing for the people of the North. They concealed all of this. Today, the backbench MPs of the United National Party are saying that they will not support the constitution in Parliament if they are not provided with a clarification on the word Orumittanadu. When Ranil Wickremesinghe is presenting the constitution, MPs from his party are saying that they will work against this. So if a clear majority of your own party is not going to support the constitution, what is the point in getting the support of the opposition?
The constitution must be approved by the Constitutional Assembly. It must be presented to the Parliament. It must get 2/3 support. It must be directed to the Supreme Court and approved by a referendum, and the President should also approve this. Considering all these requirements, there is no way that a new constitution can be formulated.
Against such a backdrop, A group headed by the Prime Minister recently presented a report to the Constitutional Assembly with a few hidden agendas. Who is raising their voices in support of a new constitution for the country at such a time? Even intellectuals have pointed out that the country desperately needs solutions to the issues that the people face on a daily basis and not a new constitution. While all these opinions have fallen on deaf ears, the Prime Minister is attempting to secure power through a new constitution at a time when he cannot do so through a public vote. Through the 19th Amendment, the Prime Minister made a similar attempt and shamelessly tried to remove the obstacles in place to consolidate power through the back door. Attempts to silence the media that revealed the truth to the people through a draft bill were averted when Newsfirst and a number of other parties took the matter to the apex court of the country. Who are these rulers trying to fool? We report, you decide.